All right, how's everybody doing tonight? Everybody having a good time at the festival this weekend? Yeah. My name is James Howard from Sunny 92.3 and News Channel 9, and I'm so happy to be here tonight. My gosh, these films, they're costing me so much money. It's like I've watched all these mountain biking films, and Christy will catch me. This is my wife, Christy, right here. She'll catch me like looking at full suspension bikes, and it's killing her. It's killing her. But happy to be here tonight. And I love seeing these films. All right, so I want to thank our wonderful sponsors, and feel free to put your hands together. Chef Carolyn, thank you very much for putting together the wonderful food. Wonderlinger, thank you for the drinks. Yes, and Mike on the beer. We love Mike. Yes, thank you very much, Mike. Thank you. Chattanooga Whiskey. Give Chattanooga Whiskey a big round of applause for the whiskey tasting. New Terras, thank you. Remember, when it comes to composting and recycling, thank you very much, Terra's staff, for reminding us to do that. We've got Taryn. We got a lot of folks with Taryn tonight. Thank you very much for our sponsors. Rock Creek. Thank you, Rock Creek. We've got St. Francis Cottage, thank you. River Valley Blinds and Loudspeaker, thank you. Yes, put your hands together for them as well. We have our wonderful volunteers, and to put something like this, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that's a task. And we can't do it without our volunteers, so thank you very much, volunteers. Woo! Something that I've been a part of just through the years is being on the screening team, and that is so much fun, being on the screening team. So all of our screeners, thank you. And our filmmakers, oh my word, let's put your hands together for our wonderful filmmakers this evening. So I want to kind of, this is our panel tonight, and I've had the last couple of weeks, I've seen these incredible films. In fact, I was talking to Lane, and you witnessed your film for the first time, last night ever. And I saw his film before he did, which is crazy, absolutely crazy. But Lane Lamoreaux, he's with us tonight, and just an unbelievable film, and we'll get to that here in just a few minutes. All right, I want to kind of go down, starting with Jordan. Jordan, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Jordan and Garrett, they're both with Mecca in the Making. It's because of you I may have to buy an expensive mountain bike. Thank you, guys. Lane, of course, with his film called Flowing Air. And we've got Cameron and Luke, a couple of screws loose. And you guys are crazy. Let me tell you, love your film. So now I've got a lot of questions. I talk for a living, and I promise you I'm going to shut up and let you guys ask some questions. But first, I want to just I want to make sure. I think a lot of us, we've seen their films, right? Yeah. Okay. Good. I do want to read word for word Lane's film, just in case you haven't seen it, or I just want to really refresh your memory. It's one that we will never forget. But Lane was seriously injured in a paragliding accident, and over a 5-year period, he struggles to get his old life back again. As he's thrust deeper in the world of the disabled, Lane's escape from his crumbling world is the same sport that nearly took his life. Eventually, he's forced to come face to face with the situation and the biggest decision of his life, to amputate his injured leg or to keep going. And I'm going to just start with you, Lane. First of all, thank you very much for being with us tonight. Where did you come in from? Oh, and grab that microphone. Where did you come in from, Lane? I think it's right there in front of you. There you go.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, where'd you fly in from?
I flew in from Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix, Arizona. Now, do you remember, raise your hand if you remember Lane taking up his mom in a paraglider.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. How can we forget, right? Can you put us under that chute? What was that like? What was that like taking your mom up for the very first time?
It was the fulfillment of a lifelong dream. Even long before my injury, as soon as I became enthralled with the world of free flight, I wanted to share it. When I find something I enjoy, that's the first thing I want to do. So that's why I became an instructor and became certified as a tandem pilot. And I dreamed one day I'd get her in the air with me. And shortly, well, not shortly, but maybe about 5 years after becoming certified, that's when I had what I call my life reset, and everything I thought and knew about the world was upended, and my mom, not sure whether or not I would survive, or if I did, if I'd be able to speak again or function on my own. And for her to hold on tight and be at my side through that dark and turbulent period, and then on top of it all, to trust me enough to enter the sky together, where I was just delighted to show her the fact that it's not as crazy as you think it is. we get in the air and it's peaceful up there. And when we do, we can actually have a conversation and look at the birds, the eagles, and the sunset. It was a moment I'll never forget.
Mm. Was it one and done for your mom, or did she go up again with you?
Well, I think we'll have to package it in a way that would make it more, throw some incentive for her to do it again. I don't know. It's something she's seeking out.
Okay.
I would love to have her company again.
And one last question before we come back to you, and I want to make sure everybody gets evenly enough time. But when you were sitting there in the audience, watching your film for the first time, what was that like for you personally?
It was suspenseful. It was suspenseful because the filming, I met the filmmaker just casually in a coffee shop in 2015. I didn't have my leg amputated till 2020. So it was 7 years of footage and hours upon hours. And what was included, what wasn't included, was something I'd have to discover second by second along with the entire audience.
Wow. A couple of screws loose. I think all these guys have a few screws loose with some of the stuff that they do. Thank you, Lane. We've got Cameron Muilenburg, a filmmaker, and we've got Luke Swab joining us today. Raise your hands, guys.
And Matt Schweiker.
And Matt Schweiker. Yeah, that's right. Matt Schweiker. How can I forget Matt? Yeah, exactly.
It was Matt's idea.
It was okay. All right. So the Death March Revival, the Dirty 130, and the Teleco Highlands 85, right? Okay, all right. So one of you three gentlemen, take us back when you came up with this crazy idea.
I feel like that has to go to Matt because it was his idea.
So those three routes have become kind of part of like an annual training program that I've tried to do every year. And, Luke and I have been kind of biting off rides and always kind of trying to up the ante. And so in doing that, I heard about someone else who had ridden those routes in consecutive days. And I was just really inspired by that. I thought that was the coolest thing. And, I kind of, when you hear about a project like that, if something, and you're kind of dreaming up one of these projects, if it doesn't make you a little bit scared, you're probably not aiming high enough. And so I wanted to do that route. And then I kind of thought about just like looking at it, pulling it up on the screen and seeing where the three routes, they're all, the theme of the routes is that it's the three major watersheds in that area. So you got the Tellico River, the Ocoee River, and the Hiwassee. And so it was kind of cool that they're all in the same area. And when you look at it on the map, it actually wasn't far-fetched to connect them. And Luke's really good with maps, and I knew he'd be a good partner for it. So we just kind of dreamed up what that connection would look like and where we would stay, which turned out to be not the best choice, but it kept us from camping. It allowed us to kind of recover. And so the logistics of it, once we really looked into it, weren't as daunting as it originally sounded. And so, yeah, everything worked out. I'm actually amazed how well everything worked out.
Okay, so first of all, Luke, I'm glad you didn't burn the cabin down. Okay, and then and Luke, I do have a question about now. How far was it in? Because obviously, after those long rides. How long did it take to get back to the? I'm calling it a cabin.
Well, it's probably at least a quarter mile to a third to a half, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And half of that is just uphill, and and we're not exaggerating. That was the steepest part of the whole route.
Okay, all right. I was wondering about that. So, Cameron, did you have? I felt sorry for you because you had I guess the camera equipment and stuff like that, and you were following them.
I
right?
had it so easy. I was in a vehicle the entire time. So
Oh,
literally
no.
the hardest part about it was just getting to where they were going to be because there was no service. And so I'm like driving ahead and like, okay, it's been an hour and a half. This distance, I think they should be here. Then I go and wait and I'm like, if I'm wrong, they're past me. And then I'm just waiting for it was that over and over and over again because there was no like find my friends because there was no cell service.
Okay,
So yeah, but it was easy for me. I was in
It
Matt's
was easy for
car,
you. Yeah, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. All right, we're gonna get back to you guys here in just a little bit. All right, Garrett and Jordan, after y'all's film, I think it was almost 15 minutes, right? It was moving. It was energetic. It was funny. It made me want to get on my 20-year-old mountain bike, which I use every week, and go explore more trails here in Chattanooga. So, all right, I want you to take me back because I know you guys took us back to, the 60s, the 70s when Chattanooga was the dirtiest, city on this planet. And Walter Cronkite, the 6 o'clock evening news. They got it was so we were so dirty, and that was bad news, right? But then the graphic, it showed Chattanooga, I think, in the center of the state. It's like all that was just terrible. So talk to us about your film when it comes to obviously you're wanting to let people know how it all started. And so tell us how it all started for you guys to create this film.
So I am not from Chattanooga. I'm from Mississippi.
Okay.
So I moved here in 2015, and when I moved here, it was already like pretty amazing outdoor city. Like it was much better than any place I'd lived in Mississippi. Not to crap on Mississippi, but I mean, it was definitely the coolest place I'd ever lived in, and I was kind of blown away by all of the infrastructure for the outdoors that had been created, and had just got to talking with Jordan and a few other guys about it, and we're like, how did all this get here? Obviously someone along the way put in a ton of effort to build all these trails and make all this stuff. Like, what is this story? So we started to kind of do some digging, and it was really interesting to hear that Chattanooga was the exact opposite, back in the 70s, 60s. It was the dirtiest city in the nation. And we tried to get the Concrete clip, but we couldn't get a license for it. So that's why it's not in the film. But we did see it and know that was kind of its reputation. And we were like, wow, this is an amazing transformation. Like, how did this happen? So, I mean, just that right there was kind of impetus to make the film. We were like, someone's going to tell the story eventually. Like, we might as well just hop on it and do it ourselves.
Yeah. Mecca in the making. So, one question I have for you guys, and even though I like going on trails and I'm with my daughter, we're mountain biking, but it seems like I'll always hear about like Bentonville, Arkansas, or different places with the World Championships. Do you guys ever see a big event coming to Chattanooga when it comes to mountain biking?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think that we already have what it takes to put on a big event. I mean, as a city, there's already things like the Ironman, and I think I'm not an Ironman person myself, but I hear that it's one of the best venues in the country. So just that right there shows that you can have a big national event here. I know for a fact we have the trails to host an event like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, absolutely. And I think that there's it should be on the map as one of the better mountain bike destinations in the country.
Yeah. Jordan, I love the personality in this 15-minute film. It kept me entertained for sure. Was that hard grabbing everybody else's personality, or what was that like for you?
Mountain bikers, they're pretty colorful people, I think. I mean, you know, outdoor people in general are. So, I mean, yeah, we had a great cast of characters. One of them's right here, Greg. So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't too hard. I think it was a matter of making sure that that part was included in the film, 'cause that's so important. Like, we could show people riding all day, but it's really the characters and the connections and the relationships that make the community, you know, so unique.
Sure.
So, yeah.
How long did it take you to finish it, start to finish, to production? Did you finish it Wednesday night?
It took a while. I mean, you know, I think we started talking about this in 2020 or something like that. And, you know, we have full-time jobs. We work in video production. So, you know, client work throughout the year. That's how we get paid. We were not getting paid to make this film, so it was like kind of a side thing. Eventually, we're like, we have to finish this thing. Like, it's just, you know, I think initially it was supposed to be an hour long. So it was went through a lot of cuts to get it to where it is. But yeah, we just had to get it done.
Yeah, fantastic. Lane, so I've got to ask you this. Pilot to pilot, I love. That's one thing we definitely have in common. You know, Chattanooga, born and raised in Chattanooga myself, and lived here all my life. And we have some of the world's best paragliding launch sites. Have you flown in this area?
I have not flown here yet.
Okay. Good. All right. So, and I'm gonna be thinking of what questions you guys want. Okay, because you know what? I tell you, I've got so many questions for these guys. I could talk all night. I was telling my wife about a week or so ago. You know, there's a few things I MC throughout the whole year, and when I saw y'all's films, I just couldn't wait to meet you in person, and I feel like I'm kind of starstruck too with seeing. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, I remember you from the film. Okay, so all right, a couple of screws loose. So Cameron, Luke, and Matt, what are you guys doing now? And I guess I'm going to ask the same question when it comes to how long did it take you guys to put this piece together? Up the Ocoee and the Hiwassee, that is my place of refuge. I'm up there almost every weekend.
The trip itself, the challenge was 3 days. 3 days of filming. And how long did I edit that, y'all? A lot. Every time I saw one of my friends at a coffee shop in Chattanooga, they're like, what are you working on? I'm like, this project that I hope sees the light of day. And yeah, so a few months of editing for this. Yeah.
Okay. Luke, so you left before Matt did, like an hour and a half.
Yep.
2 hours. I felt like I sent some tension a little bit, like because Cameron, you caught that on film. Was there more tension than we saw during this feature?
I don't know.
It's. Oh well, I'll just say that like in the description that I sent Steve and us like talking about this and making this film happen, that they really make you forget how difficult these rides are. Like the title of the film says, 3 days, 360 miles, 45,000 feet of elevation gain. Yeah. That is a lot. That is so, like these are hard rides, but they have so much fun, and the tension is still kind of funny. Like neither of them are like, right. There's always like a competitive nature in riding like this, and you want to be the first one to the top of the hill or whatever it is. But yeah, they both have so much fun that it's hard to tell really how difficult these routes are. That's all I'll say.
Okay, all right, and Matt. So I guess the tension part, it just kind of came to me, and I'm so throwing you guys under the bus. But that one moment where Luke gave Matt a hard time about, or vice versa, about not doing the dishes, or who got.
I'll tell this story.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I'm like, no, I was just in a great mood because I slept in my van, so I got an extra 30 minutes of sleep that morning while everyone was cleaning the cabin, and I was just giving Matt a hard time for not quite being ready. just like walking into, just like ready to get like made fun of for that. But I didn't like. I just wanted to, poke the bear a little bit right there. And I was just like, it's the last day. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be fun and everything. So yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to tease him a little bit.
Okay,
well, I do want to hear this story, so I can
Matt,
do a rebuttal after it.
Yeah, so part of Cameron had to edit this part out, but I don't know if you remember, but at one of the points when it had kind of gotten dark on the last day, we all had GoPros on our bikes. And so Cameron, I'm not skilled with these, but Cameron had them set up so we could just hit this button and then the GoPro instantly comes on and captures whatever moment you're in. And so we had instructions, hey, if anything comes up, just hit that real quick and we'll get it on camera. So PJ and I kind of had a little bit more gas in the tank towards the end of the night, and it started raining. It's getting dark. And at that point, everybody's kind of in their own, you're in your own world, right? You're managing your own time. Everybody's got the route on the computer. It's not really a safety thing. So PJ and I were a little bit ahead of Luke, and the gap was growing. And we got to this like up kind of around this bend where we couldn't see what was behind us. And I kind of had a moment of kind of being softy for Luke. And I thought, oh man, you know what? We gotta stop and let's let Luke catch up. And so we're around this curve and Luke can't see that we're waiting for him. And before I could see him, I just heard, son of a, this mother, just curse. And I don't know I still don't know whether he's talking about me or whether he's just talking about the route in general. But as soon as I heard that, I just flipped my bike and turned the camera on real quick, and so all you could capture was me saying, Luke, who you talking to? But that was the backstory of that. Luke was having a moment with somebody in his head behind us. Yeah.
Okay, and my rebuttal for that is that's absolutely true. That's just what happened.
Okay. Oh my goodness. All right, Garrett and Jordan, when you guys see families and people from all over not only the country, but all over the world experience what Chattanooga has to offer on mountain biking trails, and I want both of you guys to answer this. How does it make you feel? What's that like?
I mean, it's not very surprising, to be honest. When I moved here, it felt like Chattanooga was kind of a hidden gem, but as I've lived here for, 8 or so years, it's like I don't really know why. It's not surprising that there's families and people from all over the country coming here. Like, it has so much to offer. So, I'm very happy that I'm been fortunate to live in a place like this. Yeah. But it's not surprising at all. Like, this is the kind of place that should be a destination, and trails and outdoor activities like this are the best kind of things to bring your family out to do. So yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm am from Chattanooga, and we met at Ole Miss in college. And I like to think I'm part of the reason that Garrett might have come back here, because I knew what Chattanooga had to offer, at least to start a business and start working here. But yeah, I mean, the natural landscape that we have is great. Like having the river and the mountains, and I mean, it's pretty rare, traveling around, and that we have all this great natural landscape right here. So yeah, it's really cool to see people out here and enjoying the trails. I mean, yeah, they really are world class. So it feels really great.
Good. Pride. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. All right. I want to open it up to you guys. You get up there. And can I ask you guys, whoever wants a question, raise your hand, but then just stand so we can hear you. Because I don't think, do we have a portable mic? I don't know if we have a portable mic. Nope. Okay. Cool. Do you mind if you stand and ask a question? You want to?
Yeah, we have two grandsons, part Cree and part Inuit, in Manitoba, Canada, and the foster grandsons. I really get inspired by the First Nation, films that will focus on that, or the Native Americans, the group of gals from LA who went hiking, the young guys and gals from Richmond, inner city Richmond, our think the challenge for all of us that happen to live in this area is how can we incorporate kids from Calvin Donaldson, Orchard Knob. Lane, I know you teach second grade in Phoenix, and these young kids who, our son went to Berkeley. We tried to give our kids the best we could education-wise, but I'm really convicted in our older age that, what am I doing to help these young people? It seems sometimes that outdoor adventure sports are sequestered to advantaged people, and I would like to see that locally, since we have this incredible reputation as a national park city, to incorporate these advantages for the many disadvantaged people that live among us, especially the kids.
Yeah, thank you very much. And that's what I love about filmmakers and festivals like this, film festivals, where it highlights the organization, it highlights the individual, it highlights what people are sitting there going, I've never thought about that, or I want to get involved, or I'm sure maybe somebody here is like, I didn't know we had that many hiking or mountain biking trails. Lane, and I'm glad you brought that up. Tell us what you're doing now. Obviously, you're a second grade teacher. How do you incorporate being a teacher, full-time teacher? Obviously, that's a new career. I know in the film you were a substitute teacher, and you weren't crazy about that. It seemed like in the film. But how do you manage your time as a teacher and still get out in the great outdoors, including paragliding?
I have to say, it's challenging. Teaching is one of the more, I'm biased, but I believe it's a very underappreciated profession. And the opportunity you get as a teacher is next level. The lives you get to touch. And, there's all these snapshots of powerful things I've done with my life since my unfortunate life reset. However, it's the simple things, just showing up to work on time, being prepared, has a way of inspiring these little 7 and 8 year old children. And prior to that, I had the opportunity to work at an inpatient psychiatric unit with primarily Native Americans. And even though so much of the land surrounding Phoenix was of Native American designation reservation, they never really set foot out there beyond their local mart for the gas station, that sort of thing, basic needs. Exploring the outdoors was something that another ethnicity did. It wasn't for them. And taking these children, these youth, these teenagers on just quick little short 3/4 mile, maybe mile hike up into the Superstition Wilderness and have their jaw drop and see their appreciation for the stunning wonder that can only be provided by the natural world was the most therapeutic thing I could have ever done for youth.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
I just want to second the emotion from the last two answers, comments, because, fact is that we're just one in a long, long history of folks that have been wandering around in the hills around here. And there are many peoples before us that were out wandering around in these hills, and some of those peoples were forcibly relocated to other places, and other ones are in similar ways disassociated from the places around them. And to the woman's comments earlier, I think that's what's next for Chattanooga, and especially for mountain biking, is to make it more accessible. I'm getting old. I'm going to need a place to ride. I want a place for these kids to ride. I want a place that it should be single track, almost literally in your backyard.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I love about Mecca in the Making is I think it provides a big springboard for us to go there.
Absolutely. Has it been shown anywhere else besides Chattanooga, or not yet?
This is only the second showing so far. We had one other local showing at the wood shop in St. Elmo, which is just kind of just to get out to the community that we had been talking to about it for so long. But just to kind of back up what Greg was saying, like when we were interviewing him, this has always been his stance. He wanted to talk about his history in building the trails, but really that was his main point he wanted to get across. And I wish it was a bigger part of the film. It wasn't necessarily the story we were telling at the time. But accessibility for everyone to get out on the trails and not just affluent white people was, honestly, it was something that Greg was preaching ever since I first met him. Mm-hmm. And I agree that is a really important part of kind of advancing the sport and advancing this, this culture of outdoor love. So I agree that that's a really important initiative to kind of push forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the comments. Sir?
Couple of screws. How hard was it to be in the vehicle, Cameron? And then what's next for you guys? What crazy stuff are you guys doing next?
It was so easy to be in the vehicle. It was so easy. What is next? Honestly, next year these two dudes are planning something. They actually just wrapped up a Nepal trip that they did over Thanksgiving, so I couldn't go. But they have, like, Matt just did at the end of the film. It says that he just did the Tour Divide, so he just freaking rode his bike across the country, which is insane. He is always putting a lot of just time on the bike all the time, and so he's planning these trips to kind of just keep doing that. So there's talks. Can we say where you're kind of thinking of going? Yeah, they're talking about Bolivia, which would be and I would want to capture that in a very similar way of potentially them two, and then another guy that went with them to Nepal. And they can be a couple screws loose over there too. But yeah,
because at the end of the credits, didn't Matt tease that he was going to be in Nepal?
Yes, and then there's the photo right after that tease is literally a shot of them in Nepal.
Okay,
so it's like that.
Yeah.
They talked about that the next plan, like, we're already thinking of is Nepal, and then they went and already did that. So yep.
Okay. Luke, you want to say something?
Well, I just want to say Bolivia is kind of cool because the route that we looked at is a couple hundred miles, but there's like I think it's like 7 days that you don't go below 14,000 feet elevation. So that's kind of, do I have that right? Something like that, Matt?
It's on the Altiplano. There's like this Altiplano that runs between Bolivia and Peru, and the route is essentially just high altitude the whole time.
Yeah, wow. And thank you for sharing what's next, because I want to ask you guys what's next. But we have like 5 more minutes before we wrap up. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'd like to say thanks to these filmmakers and all the filmmakers for making such inspiring films. It's cool when life clicks, and I find myself in a venue like this where I can ask a question that has bothered me all of my life, really. And so, Luke, can you give us any definitive answer as to which Hardee's biscuit is the best?
Yeah, and $52 at Hardee's.
I will gladly answer this question. They all taste the same, for one. And then when we went to the next restop spot, which was another like convenience store, the rest of them all went in the trash, and we got fresh food at that. And by fresh, I mean convenience store food. But that's my answer.
Those got real soggy in that bike bag.
Oh my word!
There's definitely a shelf life on those for sure.
Oh my word! When you showed that receipt of $50-something at Hardee's, I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, all right. Garrett and Jordan, what's next? What's the next project? The Mecca in the Making was just excellent. You guys need to do more.
Thank you. We're currently not working on an outdoor project right now. We've been working on a feature documentary for the past year and a half. It's called One Plant. It's all about industrial hemp, cannabis, but really looking at the industrial side and how this plant can help us on so many levels. I think it's a really misunderstood thing, and it's kind of time to normalize it. So Yeah, we've been traveling the country for the past year and a half. 120 interviews in the can and
Wow.
a ton of footage, and now it's time to put it all together. So by the end of this year, we're hoping to have it done.
Fantastic.
Same project.
Same project. Okay. Good. Any other questions before I get to Lane? Any other questions?
I had a question for Lane that I was thinking about last night. Am I allowed to ask a question?
Yeah, you can. Absolutely.
So we met Lane in the like a whatever little meet and greet before the film festival started, and you had said that originally it was like a 95-minute film or something like that. I'm just curious. I was thinking last night of is there any piece of that longer story that you were just like, yeah, that you would like to share that. Because you saw a 45-minute version of that last night. Yeah, so I was just curious if there's anything you were like, oh, this was a piece that really meant a lot to me that didn't necessarily make it in.
Thank you. Thank you for asking that question, because it gives me the opportunity to share what I feel is one of the most fundamental and critical components to my survival that did not make the cut. It was just too tough to get it down to a size that would be accessible to a film festival. And one of the characters that was cut out of the film entirely is the reason I'm here today. If it weren't for my twin brother, Lance, who was the one person who was able to get through to me when I was in my coma and had an incredible, unanticipated, essentially an allergic reaction. There was a nationwide shortage of a specific drug called propofol that was used to help induce and maintain my state, but they ran out. So they had to switch to an alternative known as Versed, and I freaked out. I did not handle it well. I felt like I was in the hospital against my will. I was there as a hostage. I wouldn't listen to anyone. I was convinced they were all out to get to me. And the only person that could calm me down and get through to me and settle me down was my twin brother. He's incredible.
Wow. And Lane, as we wrap up tonight, I'm so thankful that you're here. And what a miracle, a walking miracle. What's next for you? I mean, you've shared briefly about, going, from a smoke jumper to a second grade teacher to, part-time flying. But what does the future look like for you?
I am thrilled to announce that I've been applying for something for the last 5 years, but recently learned that I have been accepted, and it'll be historic as I'll be the first amputee to compete in what's arguably the most challenging adventure race in North America. It's known as the X Red Rocks. It's a 3-day event that takes place in central Utah, second or third week of September, and every day we'll get a set of coordinates. You won't know it until the morning of, and every day you got to go tag those coordinates. You can tag them in a multitude of ways, but it has to be without a motor or without electricity, so it's on foot or in the air. And we all start off with paragliders, all 65 of us. So
Wow.
Stay tuned to how that unfolds.
That's awesome. That is awesome. If I just had 3 more hours with you guys. Hey, thank you very much for being here tonight. Thank you to all of our wonderful sponsors. Whatever banner you see, whatever, who do business with them. Tell your friends about it. Get it on social. Tell everybody about these filmmakers and what these guys are all about. Let's give them a big round of applause tonight. Thank you for sharing your story and sharing your journey with us tonight. Enjoy the rest of the evening upstairs. Thank you. Good job, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot.